advanced architecture, antiquitech, and free energy for the world. Now, something that I really want you to think about before moving into this next stage of the presentation is that I want you to receive this information not as we are programmed to receive information with the left hemisphere of the brain with logic and reason. It's important, but I want you to receive this information, to try and receive this information through the right hemisphere, through pattern matching, through seeing holistically. I want you to feel this information. The brain is but one brain in the body. We have three brains. We have our gut, our heart, and the brain. And when you use all three in unison, you can think and you can feel. You tap into the intuitive brain, the imaginative brain, and this is what connects us to our spiritual power, is our intuition and our imagination. And when we're connected to our spiritual power, we're connected to truth. And when you receive information, we are programmed and conditioned to receive information through a restricted lens of perception. You need to open your mind, open your heart, and feel. What's your gut feeling when you look at this stuff? And then that will tell you what you need to know. That will tell you the truth. And this picture here, I believe this was an engraving. I don't know when it was from, if it's from the 1800s, probably the 1700s, probably like 18th century. But I find this very interesting. It shows an army. They seem to be armed, but they also seem to have like aprons on, which makes me think that it's some sort of Masonic ceremony, because this looks very familiar to, or similar to, the aprons that I'm familiar with within Freemasonry. But what we see, the actual point of this picture is that we see this obelisk here with some form of sphere type object on top of it, and it's radiating. You can see all this energy just being radiated out of it, and it's lighting up the night sky. This looks like it's done in the nighttime, and all of these people it's a light show, and whatever these pyramids in the back are, whatever this construction is, this obelisk, it seems to be radiating out light or some form of etheric energy, or that's how I perceive this picture to be anyway. And this would have been before electricity was invented. They didn't have electricity. If this was 18th century, 17th century, remember, it wasn't until 1890 that electricity was invented. Yet here we are with some form of depiction of what looks like electrical power, or some form of spiritual technology that is unexplainable. We also have these angels with their trumpets. It's kind of interesting. Trumpets, vibration, sound energy, sound technology. Okay, so I just wanted to show that because I thought that was a interesting picture. But now we're going to get into the thick of it of some antiquitech and some examples of such. So you've made it through the bullshit radar calibration slides, which I understand might have been a little bit boring and may have felt insignificant, but everything that I've shown you, you need to have made a mental note about, and it will make everything make sense, and it will ground this presentation in some form of reality for you to question if this is real or not. So, examples of antiquitech: atmospheric energy harvesting and augmentation. So what we see on the top of all of these old world buildings are these spires, and the spires themselves acted as a technology, and they can be broken down into different components of the spire. So at the top we always see some form of gold or copper tip, and this essentially acted like a lightning rod for attracting and conducting atmospheric energy downwards into the building system due to its high conductivity. And then we would have this little ball. We'd have this little ball right here, which is theorized contained mercury. Mercury itself is an excellent thermal conductor, so it might have helped with regulating the temperature within the system. If the energy collected generates excess heat, mercury could help dissipate this, stabilizing the energy flow and preventing potential overheating or imbalances. Other roles include acting as a liquid resonator for vibrationally tuning the energy collected and initiating novel alchemical interactions with the energy. Refinement harmonization. So mercury or quicksilver plays a vital role within the alchemical process, something that will be explored later on in this presentation in part 3 and 4. And part 2 actually, and it's no coincidence that mercury, rivers of mercury were found under the temple of the feathered serpent in Teotihuacan, so that the pyramids just off Mexico City, the Teotihuacan site that we will be exploring in part 2 for a specific reason to be disclosed. They utilized mercury as well. Harmonizer, so we see this little contraption here. A harmonizer would stabilize chaotic energy from the atmosphere, aligning frequencies to create a smooth, usable energy flow, similar to a capacitor in modern circuits. And then we move down to a resonator. Using stone, metal, or unique geopolymer, the resonator amplifies balanced energy, enhancing the building's energetic field or preparing the energy for storage transmission. Then we move down to the bell towers. The bell sound modulates and fine-tunes the energy into specific frequencies, acting as a frequency tuner for stable, harmonized energy ready for distribution. And then we move down into storage. The building's foundation or structure may act as a capacitor, storing the collected energy for later use, akin to the new supercapacitor technology that enables rapid energy charging and discharging. So, imagine that we have lightning, gets picked up by this copper rod here. It then spirals down into the mercury to regulate its thermal conduction. It is then harmonized, it's brought down, modulated via the frequency at the bell tower and can almost be broadcasted out, and then stored in the bricks themselves. Now I know what you're thinking. Bricks? Storing electricity? Come on. Well, this is something for you to think about. So, new innovations published in Nature Communications by a team at Washington University in St. Louis demonstrated the use of P-dot nanogeopolymer technology mixed with the iron oxide in red bricks, turned the bricks into supercapacitors capable of storing static electricity, which can charge and discharge faster than batteries. So this is the whole process here. So it's the P-dot is P-dot is a nanoparticulate, and when mixed with the geopolymer of making a brick, the iron oxide, so the iron oxide is what gives it its red appearance. When it reacts with it, it chars the brick. It chars the brick like so, and allows it to essentially become a battery. So here you can see that they are powering a green LED with the brick with this technology. And like I said, we already forgot about Roman concrete. How do we know that Roman concrete is the only thing that we forgot about? There could be numerous technologies, mortar, geopolymer technologies that we have forgotten over time. We do not know. We think we know, but we don't. And so this is Litchfield's cathedral, which is I've been to. It's a very beautiful cathedral, but one of the most noticeable and striking like physical attributes of it, apart from the architecture itself and design, is that it looks scorched, it looks burnt, and when you see it in person, it's like much more relevant, much more striking. But the general explanation for this, it's like, oh, you know, it's just time, it's weathering, and in the Industrial Revolution, you know, all the smog that was created, and it created a layer of like ash over the buildings, and in some respects that may be true, in some respects, but there, like, Lichfield wasn't known to be an industrial hub, okay? And when you look at these bricks, they look very kind of similar. Again, it's red brick, and it looks very similar to this. And here we have the spire, clock tower. You have these bricks to store the energy as a gigantic battery. Again, use your intuitive mind, use your imaginative mind. Does that make sense to you? Or is that purely fantasy? That is for you to decide. I'm not going to tell you what to believe or what to think. I just want you to explore that idea seriously.
If you enjoyed this presentation and feel inspired to support both yourself and this channel, then head over to primalalchemy.co.uk. Awaken your potential with the world's only visionary health brand. Discover our collection of tonic herbal elixirs, rare crystals, and holistic health technologies, all chosen and created with intention, so you can focus on the energy you bring into your life. Whether you're grounding yourself, seeking clarity, or elevating your routine, Primal Alchemy supports every step of your journey. Use code REBUS10 for 10% off all superfood elixirs at primalalchemy.co.uk.